Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. Shir sponsor Louis Nishmas Am Yakashom and Leah Basitzchok. We're holding Basra Daf Gimel. We're starting in the first line of Daf. So in the middle of the sugya over here, the Gemara is telling us, question, do you have Ezekriya or not? We said in the Mishnah, it says, do you want to build a mechitza if you want to build a wall? Actually, you don't have to build a wall. It says the Gemara now, Lishnachrin, another Lashon. Amila Savrua. Now this is really going to be a flip side of whatever we learned in the previous Amud. Savrua my mechitza plukto. They thought the mechitza means not the wall. Division. That's the pasuk we saw in the previous Amud. The division of the Eidah. Meaning two people that decide to divide the lots into two. Once they decide to divide the lots, they must build a wall. Again, it's a flip side of what we said in the previous Amud. If you divide the lots, you must build a wall. Why? Because I want you to have a wall between two chatzeros. Because if you're in my chatzor and you're in your chatzor, you must have a division.
What does dividing have to do with Chazakriya?
If it's not dividing, they're partners living together. There's two brothers living in the same chatzor, two people, two friends, we're living together. So then I don't have to divide it, because it's one lot. We're partners. But once I'm living in this side, and you're living in this side, now you have to make a division.
And it has always to do with living quarters?
Yeah, and not in houses. And in houses, you for sure have Ezekriya.
I have 2 fields.
So 2 fields again. We said the fields you don't have. That's the previous one. Fields you don't have a issue. Gardens you do because I know. Houses you have Ezekriya. Rishirami you do. It's only 2 chatzeros. Says well, Amo, we can say no. Again, that chiyah, what we said previously. My mechitzo gudo means a wall. The na mechitza zakerim shenifritzo, as we said, we mentioned mechitza zakerim regarding kilayim, talking about a wall. Omer l'gdor tells them to close up the wall. Nifritzo he breaks again. Omer l'gdor nisyah shimena v'legodra raise the kiddush v'char v'chayuso. Once he gave up, he becomes kilayim. So you see, you speak about a wall. Time at the road, not because they agreed to build it. If you didn't want, you don't build it. So you see the exact opposite than what we want to say right now, based as we said in the previous daf.
In the field, you do have to put it up now.
Field, garden. That's kilayim is only when you have 2 different types of. Let's say I'm growing wheat and you're growing wheat. So the pasture you're not going to have to put a wall unless you have ayin hara. But now because there's agreed. Kilayim is a different issue. Kilayim is because of kilayim, because you have to do 2 different things. It's even if I'm the same owner. If I'm the owner of both fields, I have to build a wall in order for it not to be kilayim. Nothing to do with shchein. Says the Gemara. So the word says now the flip side. What's the flip side? Meaning, we could say that the reason you don't have to build a wall, if they decided to build the wall, you have to build a wall. It's because, how the Gemara learned yesterday in the previous daf. So if you want to build a wall, but if not that, same question we had yesterday. They decided to build a wall, so build it. You decided to build, you have to build a wall. Alma elamai, plukto, elamai, I have to say like we're saying today's daf. So what is the mechitza? Division. 2 people decide to divide the lots. That's the wrong lashon. What's the lashon of the Mishnah? They wanted to build a mechitza. Mechitza means a wall. If you want to divide it, just say shirotzu lachtzos. If you want to divide it, that's the right lashon. So well, that's not a problem. Kedamri, as people speak, ton na'avid plukto. People say these words. Let's do a division. They don't necessarily say the word let's divide. It's really like a verb and a noun. Do I use a verb? Morris says you should use a verb. Let's divide. Well, no, people talk that way. Let's do a division. I'm talking about the noun. Right? If they didn't want to, so why don't you have to build a wall? This we mentioned because if they're 2 partners, if they're living each one on their own. So this goes back to what we asked before. Why do you have to build a wall? So the more answers it. You don't have to. You split a chatzor into 2 only when you have enough for each one to have 4 amas. So then you split it. Then you have to do a mechitza. But if it's less than 8 amas, means less than each one having 4 amas, you don't split it. Then they live together. So then I don't have to build a wall unless because it's too small to divide. This is just an addition of what you asked me before. You could maybe force a division, or each one should be on his own if you have enough for each one. But if it's too small, you don't divide it. Says the Gemara, "My kamashon." What's a chiddush? Tichileis bodin chaluko kirotzu palpali. So what's the chiddush of our Mishnah? That if you want to divide it, you can divide it, even though it's less than 8 hours. So Tanino, we learned in Emasai, Bizman Chen Shtem Roitzim. When both don't want, that's what we're going to learn in Daf Yud Aleph. The ones they speak about when they don't want to do it. They won't do it. I feel focused like a then you divide a chotzer, even though it's not enough for each one. So when you also have amina feel pochos mikan, yeah, you want to divide, we'll divide it. How will divide a small chotzer? We'll divide it with a little bit of small beams just to make a division. Once I told you, want to divide it, you have to make a real big, strong kaisel, a big division, because has a greenish way according to this command. So just say this, you don't have to tell me that. So it says now we got over here to the parentheses. We're going to skip the parentheses. Let's skip these parentheses, because first of all, we're going to see soon the Gemara is going to come back to some points of it, and there's a little problem with the parentheses. We're going to skip the parentheses. Says the Gemara, how do you explain our Mishnah? Talking about there's no din chalukah. If, what do you mean? You don't have, we'll see later in the Masechta. When you have a chotzer, it has din chalukah, you can go ahead and split it, right? You could go ahead and force the splitting of it. Very nice. What happens if I don't have din chalukah? You can't force it. So they go ahead and decide they're going to divide it. So what if you're going to decide to divide it? Change your mind. What's stopping you from changing your mind? They did a kinyan. Says so it's interesting, even the Avin over here, Rashi explains, they won't understand they're doing Khalifa. They're doing Kinyan Suda. Kinyan Suda is able to coin an item. I want to be coining this table, I do Kinyan Suda coin. Here, what am I coining? I'm coining my ischayvus, the fact that I committed myself. There's nothing here that you actually coin it. So the Gemara, they coined the actual luchos. They went to each side and said, they did a kinyan over there. Rashi explained, the most we should learn, it's a continuation. Each one went to his portion and did a chazaka. He did a full chazaka over there. So he says over here, what exactly is the Chiddush of Rashi? Don't I know what chazaka means? Well, you have to tell me what chazaka is. So he goes to explain what the Chiddush is. Rashi is really telling you, we're doing an actual kinyan. I'm going to take this part and be koine, you'll take this part. Continues the it says, Marco Shinagu, leave noise. You go, we have different types of stones that you build. It's either a kvil or a gazith, etc. Says the Gemara like this: what's the between a gavil and gazis? We mentioned in the Mishnah the gavil, the size of a gavil is 6 tach, and a gazis is 5 tach. Why? Well, gavil avni delim mishafi. It's stones that are not smooth; they're sticking out. They're a little bigger. Because it's avni mishafi, but gazis it's when it's smooth, so that's why it's less. That's what happened in Beis Hamikdash. They were very smooth. Kfisim, what's kfisim? Arche. Levanim livdi. What does that mean? A riach is 1.5. Levanim is 3. Now we say in the Mishnah that the arichim is 4. So what does that mean? You put one row of arichim, 1.5. You do another one on the other side, 1.5. That's 3. And in between, you have a space of 1. Together, it's 4. So you have 2 arichim, and the space in between is arichim. And levanim is 1 or 3. How do we know the gavil means not smooth stone? What's that extra tefach? Because it's not smooth, it's sticking out. So you have an extra area. Maybe means that it is a half of a gazis, similar to what we say by a riach. Maybe a gazis is 5 tefach. What's half of 5 tefachim? 2.5. It's 2.5 and 2.5. The tefach in between it comes out to be 6. Because it's half of a gazis. And the extra tefach is for the space in between. Like we said, like kfisim. That's arichim. And levani livni. That's what we explained. Right? Meaning the same way we talked about the 3rd and the 4th category in the Mishnah. It means one is half of the other, and you have a space in between. So why are we speaking the 1st and the 2nd? You mean it's talking that has things sticking out? Maybe it means half the size is the space in between. I'm only the time of kfisi archim. You know, how do you know the kfisi is archim? How do you know that? Who said that? So maybe it's the size of a stone, which is 4. Ela gemar gmirlo. That's what we know. A gemar, we have a kabbalah. That's what it is. Kavil nami aved lo mishafni a gemar gmirlo. That's the kabbalah we have. We knew that. That's what it is. Who said the kfisim is arche? The question starts from there. I didn't know the kfisim is a riyah, which is 1.5. By tefah, it's the extra tefach lebein orbe. It's in between. Till my kfisim avned lo mishafni. A kfisim is stone which are not smooth. Maybe it's similar to what we said in the beginning. Maybe the third category, it's exactly like the fourth category with just an extra tefach because it's not smooth. Like we said by Gvil, goes out of the Mishafion. The first and the second category is that the same stone, just one is smooth, one is not smooth. And that's for the extra unsmoothness. I'm looking at time like Gvil, Abed the Mishafion, I don't know Gvil is Abed the Mishafion. And like Gemara Gvil, it's a Gemara. In other words, what is the Gemara saying? We're saying category number 1 and category number 2. Is category number 1 is and 2 are the same stone, one is smooth, one is not smooth. Category number 3, that category number 4, 3 is half of 4 with a space in between. It's different. So you see, always when you have a space between is 1 tefach. Hani mili is betino. Betino means, right, that they were talking about that you fill it inside it, plaster or cement, mud. But if you're putting in like small stone pebbles, by it, you have to put them. So that's the small pebbles. When you're putting the mud, it's less of a space. Says more the because he's called down Amos Goiva. You have a pucho cham shakai iloi lokai. Well, tell me, right? We know that the size of the wall has to be 4 amos. And I'm using the gazis, which is the base of Mingdosh, what we said before. It's supposed to call Eila Avodim Yekros Kvidas Gazis because it's 5 bach. So you tell me that what is the size of a stone to be the height of 4 amos is 5 tefachim. Right? So that's you build a wall of 4 amos if you have a width of 5 tefachim. So right now the Gemara, as many times the Gemara does, is okay. So if I build a height of 8 amos, it needs to be 10 tefachim. Every 10 amos to be 4 tefachim. Says the Gemara. The Alma traxing the Alma that you have in Beis Hamikdash between the Kodesh Kodashim, they have a Gavoya Tlosim Amos, so it's 30 amos high. And it was only 6 tefachim in size. It's only 1 amma. So according to you, you should need at least 10 tefachim. The Gazis is a 5 tefachim, and he holds 4 amos. So if I want to do 30, it should be much more. No. I'll tell you why. It doesn't go proportionate. It's not that for every 4 amos you need 5 tefachim. 4 amos is 5 tefachim per gazis. If you want to do 30 amos, 6 tefachim. It's not the exact proportion. He says you have to have a little wider wall, but not much wider. So why didn't we do this wall in the second base? You can build up to 30 amos. So that's an interesting measurement. Up to you can do a 6 tefachim up to 30, but you 6 tefachim cannot hold more than 30 amos high. And the height of the base of the Sheni was 100 amos. So it doesn't work. Same one we know, David know it's so much more. So the second base of English will be greater than the base of first base of English. We'll see, maybe we'll mention Shom and Dav, it's called Bais Ach. She by Shane. We know it will be a Bais Lishi. And Achre. Question many discuss. Which means that his height was much more than the other. People base Bishani. It means it's going to be there for more years. We know Bismillah Sharisha was 410 years. Bismillah Shem was 420 years. They're both are true. Says the Gemara, well, okay, you could say the wall can be only a height of 30, not more. So make it a height of 30. I have 100 amo. So don't do the rest, don't do a wall. We remember, it's changing, was no wall at all, it was only a pareches. So make a wall height 30 amo, and above 30 amo, you don't have a pareches. Kikai close to amos, so now I got tikro maziva. Tikro maziva lo have a kai. You know when the 30 amma stand, there's a roof. If I don't have a roof, it doesn't stand. You want to put a 30 amma and the roof is 70 amma above it, it's going to fall. You need to have a roof to hold it on. Okay, it's a similar question. So build portion of it with a wall, and above the made a parichis. We know there's two ways to build a wall, either with a wall or with a parichis. The Mishka was a parichis, the Mikdash was a wall. You can't do half and half. Says the Gemara, Hem v'sidon or dilmo hem beloy sidon. The shear that we said, 5 tefachim, 6 tefachim, does that include the plaster or does not? The wall with the sidon. It's not. Why did you mention it? Makes sense. Without the sidon. I'm not measuring, not talking about small amounts. I need to have a larger amount. So if I'm talking about only size that is divisible by tefach. So you see, you talk about less than a tefach. Also, chazit's the roof. Yeah, tefach goes on to be 3. So you're getting to a full tefach. Says the Gemara, we speak about the koiro of a roof. We said it should be wide enough to hold the ariyah. So there you see they were talking about it's half of a 3, which means 1.5. We're talking about less than a tefach. You said you don't mention less than a tefach. We just mentioned less than a tefach. Says the Gemara, also biravos. There we talk about a large one. That it's not going to be. Here we talk about a ravaso. Sorry, I missaid it. What you see by Erev is that it's 3 tefachim without the seat. Because it says the size of the Erev is 3 tefachim. So you see the levain is 3 tefachim without the plaster. Says the Gemara, we talk about a larger levain. Take it out, we need to have the levain of 3 tefachim. Not sure there's one which is much smaller. Says the Gemara, don't destruct one shul until you have another shul ready. Don't say I'll destruct a shul, eventually I'll build it. One says because he is not going to build the second one. So see, you're not going to have work to daven in between. You have another shul. I have tzului. Says the Gemara, they had one shul for the winter and they wanted one shul for the summer. So they took down the summer one during the winter, they took down the winter one during the summer. Why? Because there, the pashtas, the Rishay B'dim Pshat, but the Pshat is, I have another shul, I don't need it, because it's the winter, the summer. What happens if I have the money? I did the fundraising, I have the money ready. So there's no chashash, I'm not going to build it. Maybe they have to use a pidyon shvurim. So what happens if you have all the building material ready? You have the levanim, you have the beams, everything is ready to go. Maybe they have to sell it to do pidyon shvurim. But no, if so even if you build it, maybe they're going to have to ruin it and take it pidyon shvurim. Only the rest of the each matter. Once it's built, you don't sell it. You don't break down a shul only if it's not leaking, it's not broken, it's not fall down. Once it's already broken, you can knock it down to build a new. Like Rashi saw that there was a problem, a breakup in the shul of Matmachsio. Satre, he broke it. So he put his bed there. Why? To make sure that he will rebuild it. Because his bed is there, so they're going to make it nice. Until he fixed the leak, he didn't take it out. Says the more now, just 4 more lines to go over here. Bava ben Buta told Hordus, rebuild the Beis we'll see in tomorrow's daf. How do you tell him that? It says don't ruin a shul to build another shul. Don't ruin Beis build another Beis. So when you buy statement to your husband, either you saw was breaking down, so you need to fix it. A malchus won't change his mind. If the king says, I will uplift, I will take down a mountain, he thinks that amount doesn't change his mind. So that's what Amalfus is. It's a given. And if he says a little bit of English, you can rely on that. It's not the same thing like a shul. We'll go more into the story of this, Hashem, in tomorrow's daf. Kol Tuv, a good thing.